Hey Rivals, Professor Ehrin here, and welcome to our Friday Team Shadow Talks. Today I'm going to be talking with Rivals Red member Caleb, and we're going to be talking about some of our decks that we just absolutely were disappointed by in the last season. So Caleb, what's the first thing you got on your list?
They have to be the Stage 2 GXs.
Oh yeah.
They all have really good HP and big attacks, but they're just way too slow and require, like some of them like Tyranitar here, he needs 3 separate attaching because it's hard to accelerate to him.
I remember trying to make something with this Shifter GX with the extra sensory with a single grass and a DCE using Judge or Copycat.
Yeah.
And I know I saw a number of people try to make Greninja GX work. It's kind of like the old Bats deck, but I think what made the Bats deck really work was you didn't see such high HP numbers, and it was basic Pokemon, so you're not losing 2 prize cards every time one gets knocked out. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of stage 2s just didn't work out. The format became really too fast and too big basics. What else you got?
So my next is going to be the Zygarde Bonnie combo, where you could reuse Verdict GX so that you could be invulnerable to damage, as well as doing 150 every turn. I think the biggest problem is that you had to get either a DCE or 2 attachments to get the Cell Collector, and by then you're 3, even 4 turns in, and you finally have had your Verdict GX. Gives your opponent plenty of time to set up.
I see that, and I like Bonnie. I thought it was a really, really cool idea. There wasn't really a great way to recycle Bonnie either, so even if you were able to pull off that combo, you can only use it 5 times, and then you were kind of done.
Yeah, even if you did play the Bonnie, you can't play a supporter for turn, so if you played a Bonnie, there's no, Guzma at the time, or Lysander, or Boss's Orders, I guess.
Right.
Alright, my next is going to be Ray. He had very good success early on, but with his crazy Dragon Break attack that did 30 for each of Lightning and Grass, even the Tempest GX that discard your hand and draw 10, I thought that card was going to be incredibly good, but I think it got quickly outmatched by decks like Malamar Necrozma and Malamar Ultra Necrozma, who could keep the damage going and easily hit the one-hit knockout.
I agree, and I think the problem with these decks, it was the problem with the original Darkrai EX, is once you start losing one that has a lot of energy, or you lose your energy engine, it just goes downhill really, really quickly. So you need a really fast start, and you've got to keep it going. You've got to keep your Pokemon safe, and I don't think that with the 3 retreat cost, it wasn't really that easy to do. No more float stone or anything like that to keep things moving and keep the damaged Pokemon on your bench.
Alright, my next is gonna be Lugia. I thought this was gonna be a tech in like a lot of decks, especially decks that like fire decks, because of the Pelargonic Blade that does 170, even though you can't attack next turn, it's very easy to just switch and put him back in the active to be able to spam 170.
Yeah, but I think that 4 energy cost was just too much, and even the psychic attack that's 3 energy, I think just even when DCE was in format, you're still talking 2 attachments for only 190 HP. I don't think even as a tech card, it just didn't work.
Yeah, and right after it was Snorlax Eevee tag team, because he came out right in the set after.
Gotcha.
My next are going to be some of the Dragon support from Dragon's Majesty, with cards like Lance and Zinnia. I really thought these cards would make Dragonite really good, because you could attach 2 basic energy and even get 2 Dragonites onto your bench. But the biggest problem with this is you had to be behind. So starting from behind is never a position you want to be in. And you can't even play them both the same turn. So you have to choose one or the other.
I really found dragons to be hard to begin with. A lot of them require multiple types of energy. They seem to work a little wonky. I know we've made Ray work in the past and expanded, but even that, it doesn't always work. So dragons have always been hard.
I'm gonna pick Shockknuckle.
Shockknuckle.
He got lots of hype because when he was coming out, decks like Lost March and Granbull were coming out. This card was great against those decks, but anything else, it could not hold up.
I think people tried to turn this into the next big stall card, and it was too easy to just pile on enough energy. And Super Boost got added, I think, right in Ultra Prism as well. So right before this, so people realized they could use Super Boost energy to really get around that needing 3 energy.
Yeah, and even even you can't even attack too good because you're doing 60 damage.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's not a great attack. I think it was a good stall card, but you'd never want to be stalling with something that costs you 2 prize cards when it goes down.
Even that low HP, that is not hard to hit. Especially decks like Blacephalon who were around at the time. He needed 2 energy to discard, and Shuckle's done.
Yeah.
Alright, we got Bayonet GX going. I think this card received a lot of hype, but never really lived up to the expectation. I think the low HP and even the no good partner, as well as being a stage 1, really were just not good enough.
Yeah, there was a lot of psychic support, but it also made it really easy to use psychic baby decks, and then Naganadal was really, really good to use as well. And I think this just kind of got moved by the wayside. I don't think it could ever really hit the numbers. It topped out at 130 for a single energy, which is amazing. And then moving damage from one Pokemon to the other, including from yours to one of your opponents, allowed you to get those knockouts. But again, it never really took off. And being a stage 1 in a really fast format, it just wasn't the right time.
Alright, 2 more left. So our next is going to be Cesar GX. I remember I pulled this card at the pre-release for Celestial Storm and thought it was going to be the next big thing, but it just never really took off the ground. It's that ability where if you have 100 HP or less, you do 80 more damage. So you're hitting for 160 as well as 30 less. Well, 30 less resistance, I guess.
Taking 30 less damage?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look for.
Gotcha.
But even then, 130 HP left is not enough to get going.
Now, I'm surprised people didn't try to use this with Island Challenge Amulet. I don't know if that would actually work because it says you have 100 less HP, or if you have to have 100 damage counters on here. Yeah, so that would have allowed you to really quickly use this. But I think even then, by the time Island Challenge came out, this had, again, fallen by the wayside for a little bit bigger, a little less stage 1, just a lot of big basics with the tag teams that came out very shortly after this.
Yeah. Alright. I have some personal gripes with our next one. That's going to be Silvally GX and his memories. I don't have all of them, but I have most of them with me. This card has everything to be really good. He has 210 HP, which at the time was the HP for stage 1. An ability that lets you put basics in free retreat. That's really good. You could have a type null in the front and have this guy charging up in the back, and then you could immediately retreat and go in for a turbo dive to do 120 and take energy from your discard and put it onto that type null. You even have a GX that was really well received with Lycanroc GX and Rebel GX that does 50 for each Pokemon your opponent has benched.
I like the idea that you can type it so that it hits for weakness every time.
But that takes up way too much space.
I think it takes up way too much space, and you can't use greens to get it because it has an ability. So your ability to search out individual trainers is really, really limited. And I think ultimately it would make for a very clunky deck, and I think that's why it didn't get a lot of play.
And even the other Silvally GX just rubs salt in the wound, being really well played with the disc reloading.
Yeah, disc reload was great. I used that in a couple decks just as draw support. So I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, but
I tried at pretty much every set when it released.
We definitely tried. All right, guys, this has been Team Shadow Talks. Please check us out every Friday. We're going to do a Team Shadow takeover on the Rivals of Red channel. Give us a like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments below what were the cards that you were the most disappointed by, the decks you were most disappointed by in this last rotation. Thanks, and have a great day.